Why do so many people seem to fade after 80? It's a question most of us ask quietly when we see someone who, just a few years ago, was sharp, active, and full of life, slowly begin to dim, not because of one major illness or injury, but through a quiet, gradual decline that seems to happen beneath the surface. Most people assume that what happens after 80 is just about luck or bad genetics, but that's far from the full story. The truth is, many of the things that cut life short or drain the joy out of our later years are subtle, invisible even, and they don't show up on blood tests or scans. They creep in through the back door of your routine. They hide inside your habits. They settle in when no one's looking. And that's what makes them dangerous. In this video, we're going to explore 5 unexpected reasons why so many older adults struggle to live well or live long beyond 80. These aren't the usual suspects like diet, smoking, or lack of exercise. They're deeper, more human, more emotional, and more real. But here's the good news. Once you recognize them, you can do something about them. You can interrupt the pattern. You can gently but powerfully reclaim control of your aging process. So if you're someone who wants more than just extra years, if you want years that still feel connected, alive, meaningful, then stay with me. Because the sooner you see what's really draining your vitality after 80, the sooner you can protect what matters most: your mind, your body, your purpose, and your life. Let's begin. Have you ever noticed how life gets quieter as we get older? Not just because the house empties out or because our calendars slow down, but because the tiny interactions that once filled our days often without us even realizing begin to disappear. Experts call this microsocial engagement. It means the little social moments that happen in passing, the kind that don't feel important but are. A quick hello to the mail carrier, a short joke with the grocery clerk, nodding to the neighbor as they walk their dog, even just saying "excuse me" in a busy line. These are not deep conversations. They're not heart-to-hearts, but they're powerful because they stimulate your brain, regulate your nervous system, and most importantly, they remind your body, "I'm still part of something." Now here's the part most people miss. After age 80, these moments tend to vanish. But not because people don't care. They vanish because of convenience and isolation by design. You stop going to the store yourself, you order online, or a family member picks it up. You stop chatting with strangers because your hearing isn't what it used to be. You stop walking to the corner cafe because the sidewalk feels uncertain, or the weather feels unfriendly. And slowly, without any dramatic change, your days become quieter. Your world shrinks. The problem? Your brain doesn't understand convenience. It only sees disconnection. And that disconnection becomes a stressor. It increases cortisol. It raises inflammation. It starts to dull the neural circuits that control memory, mood, even immunity. It tells your body, "You're fading from the world." And the body listens. I once met a man named Joseph. He was 83, and every morning he walked to a small diner 3 blocks from his apartment. Same route, same time, same waitress, same people at the counter. He didn't go for the food, it wasn't great. He went because those 5 minutes of interaction, waving at the crossing guard, smiling at the barista, thanking the busboy, gave shape to his day. They made him feel seen. And feeling seen is one of the most important signals of vitality there is. When Joseph missed a week due to a cold, the waitress called to check on him. The regulars asked where he was. And you know what? He told me that mattered more than the coffee ever did. Now compare that to someone who stays home all day. They're not in pain. They're not necessarily depressed, but they're invisible. And invisibility is a slow poison. You see, microsocial engagement is like sunlight for your spirit. You don't always notice it while it's shining, but remove it, and things start to wilt. So if you've found yourself speaking to fewer people lately, if your days feel like they pass in silence, or if errands and outings have become rare, it's time to rebuild the web of tiny social contact that used to hold you up, even if you didn't realize it. You don't need big plans or grand gestures. You just need presence and repetition. Go back to the bakery. Say hello to your pharmacist. Walk your block. Wave at the kids. Smile at the crossing guard. Because these aren't just social moments. They are lifelines. And the longer you hold on to them, the more your brain and body will hold on to you. There's a fine line between being careful and becoming too careful. After age 80, many people start to cross that line quietly, slowly, and with good intentions. A near fall on the sidewalk, a slip in the shower that left a bruise, a dizzy moment at the grocery store. And just like that, the message settles in. I need to slow down. I need to be safe. So you stop taking the stairs. You sit down to put on your shoes. You stop going for walks when the weather looks even a little questionable. You stay seated longer, and you stand up less. At first, it feels like wisdom, like you're protecting yourself, like you're doing the responsible thing. But here's the hidden danger. The body learns what you teach it, and when you teach it to stop moving, it forgets how to move at all. You see, the body isn't like a machine that needs rest to recover. It's more like a garden. It needs regular tending, or it begins to wither. And after 80, things change faster than you think. You might go 1 week without your usual walk, and lose a bit of balance. Skip bending over for a few days, and suddenly your back feels stiff. Stop stretching, stop reaching, stop climbing, and muscles shrink. Joints stiffen, posture collapses. I remember a man named Walter. He was 82, strong, independent, still walking a mile every evening. One rainy day, he slipped. No serious injury, just a scare. But that scare changed everything. He told himself, better stay in. No need to risk it. Days turned into weeks. The walk stopped. His legs weakened. 6 months later, Walter had lost over 10 pounds of muscle. His balance was poor. His confidence was gone. And that's the paradox. He didn't stop walking because he was weak. He became weak because he stopped walking. Look, I'm not saying ignore real risks. Use the cane. Install the rail. Clear the clutter. Be smart. But don't let fear write the rules of your life. Because once fear takes control of your movement, it quietly takes control of everything else. Your appetite, your strength, your sleep, even your independence. And it happens without alarms, without warning. Until one day, you notice you can't get out of that chair as easily. You avoid uneven ground. You stop looking people in the eye because you're too focused on staying upright. That's not just aging. That's atrophy of muscle, of confidence, of life. So ask yourself honestly, are you limiting your movement because of a real barrier or because of what might happen? If it's fear, not fact, driving your choices, it's time to shift. Start small. Stand up from your chair 5 extra times today. Do heel raises while brushing your teeth. Hold onto the kitchen counter and march in place for 30 seconds. Every time you move safely, intentionally, you're teaching your body, I'm still here. I still need you. Stay strong for me. Because staying alive after 80 isn't just about not falling, it's about moving enough that your body remembers how to live. And when you reclaim movement, even in tiny, cautious ways, you're not just protecting yourself from injury. You're protecting yourself from decline. There's a clock inside your body. You can't see it. You can't hear it. But it quietly governs almost everything. Your mood, your digestion, your immune system, even how your brain heals itself during sleep. This internal clock is called your circadian rhythm. And after age 80, it becomes more fragile than ever. One of the biggest reasons? Light. Or rather, the wrong kind of light at the wrong times. Let me explain. Your body was designed to rise with the sun and wind down with the darkness. Bright, natural morning light tells your brain, wake up, time to be alert, focused, active. And darkness or dim, warm light in the evening signals your body to release melatonin, that gentle hormone that tells every system inside you, it's time to rest, time to repair, time to sleep. But what happens when that pattern gets disrupted? When you wake up late, stay indoors all day, and rarely get any sun. When you spend your evenings with every lamp on, or your face lit up by the cold blue glow of a TV or tablet. Here's what happens. Your body gets confused. You might still sleep, but not well. You wake up groggy. Your energy dips in the afternoon. Your memory feels a little fuzzy. You might feel moody or flat without knowing why. Over time, that disrupted rhythm starts to wear you down. Your immune function weakens. Your risk of cognitive decline increases. You start to feel older, not because of age, but because your body's timing is out of sync. And the worst part, most people don't realize it's happening. They think, I'm just tired, or this is what aging feels like. But sometimes, it's just a matter of light. I once spoke with a woman named Helen. She was 84, sharp as a tack, but lately, something had changed. She felt foggy, weak, low. Her blood work was fine. Her heart was fine. No new medications. And then her doctor asked one simple question. Are you getting any morning light? She wasn't. Her routine had shifted in the winter. Curtains drawn. TV on late. So the doctor gave her a challenge. Sit by the window for 20 minutes every morning. Open the blinds wide. And turn off all screens 1 hour before bed. 2 weeks later, her sleep improved. So did her memory. So did her mood. It wasn't a pill. It was light. You see, after 80, your skin produces less vitamin D, even when exposed to sun. That makes natural sunlight even more critical, not just for your bones and immune system, but for your internal alignment. So here's what you can do. Step outside within an hour of waking up, even if it's just to sit on your porch or walk to the mailbox. Let your eyes and skin take in the light. At night, dim the lights. Turn off your screens. Let the darkness tell your body, it's time to release. It's time to restore. Because what we often call aging is sometimes just disorganization, a body that's fallen out of rhythm. And when you bring rhythm back, when your light cues and sleep cycles return, you're not just improving your sleep, you're reminding your body, we're still on schedule. We still know how to thrive. By the time someone reaches their 80s, they've likely lost more than most people can imagine. A spouse, a sibling, a lifelong friend, sometimes even a child. And while the world offers polite sympathy, a gentle hug at a funeral, a few kind words on the phone, what often gets overlooked is how heavy that emotional load becomes over time. Because after the cards stop coming, after the visitors go home, you're left with something quieter and harder, the expectation that you should be used to it by now. So what do many people do? They suppress it. They put on a brave face. They say, I'm fine, even when they're not. They tell themselves it's just part of aging. But the truth is, your body keeps the score. Emotions that are not expressed, not shared, not spoken, not felt don't just vanish. They get stored. And over time, that stored grief begins to change the body. It weakens the immune system. It disrupts sleep. It affects appetite. It raises stress hormones. It increases inflammation. And it slowly, quietly, closes you off from life. I knew a man named George. He was 86, lost his wife of 60 years. He didn't cry much, didn't talk about it. He said, "I'm doing okay." But within a year, his weight dropped. He stopped going to the senior center. He couldn't sleep through the night, not because of disease, not because of age, but because his heart was carrying sorrow it was never allowed to release. And here's the most dangerous part. The kind of pain doesn't always look like pain. It shows up as quiet, withdrawal, fatigue. It shows up as a sense that something inside has dimmed, but you can't quite name it. This is what emotional suppression looks like. And over time, it becomes a slow form of shutdown. But it doesn't have to. Because healing doesn't require grand gestures. It doesn't mean breaking down in tears or reliving every memory. It starts with acknowledgement. Saying, "I miss her." Saying, "I still think about him every day." Saying, "I don't know who to talk to anymore." And letting those words exist without shame, without judgment. You see, the people who live longest and most fully after 80, they aren't necessarily the strongest physically. They're the ones who found a way to let their hearts breathe. Some talk to a trusted friend. Some write in a journal every night. Some light a candle. Some pray. Some go to therapy or grief support. Some just sit quietly and speak to the ones they've lost as if they were still there. What matters is not how you grieve. What matters is that you let it move through you, instead of trapping it inside you. Because the heart can only carry so much before it starts to close itself off, just to survive. So if you've been holding something in, not because you want to, but because you didn't know where to put it, please know there is still time. There is still space. You're still allowed to feel. Because grief is not weakness. It's love with nowhere to go. And when you give it a place to land, your heart doesn't just survive, it starts to come back to life. There's something most people take for granted. Until it's gone. Not money. Not health. Not even companionship. It's purpose. And not the big philosophical kind, but the small, everyday kind. The kind that gets you out of bed in the morning with a reason to move. Something to do. Somewhere to go. Someone to see. Even if it's just watering the garden, writing a letter, or setting the table for one. But after 80, many people slowly begin to lose that sense of daily rhythm. Not because they've done anything wrong, but because the world around them has changed. The volunteer group you loved disbanded. Your bridge partner moved away. Your family visits less often. The aches in your knees make it harder to stand for long, so you stop cooking. The neighborhood feels different now, and the days start to blur together. And without realizing it, something inside begins to turn down the volume on life. Meals feel optional. Sleep feels irregular. You stop remembering what day it is. And a dull question starts to echo quietly in the background. What's the point? Here's the truth no one tells you. The body listens to the mind. And when the mind no longer believes it's needed, the body responds. Your appetite drops. Your energy dips. Your system's immune, hormonal, cognitive all begin to go quiet. Not because they're broken, but because they're waiting. For a signal. For a reason. For a spark. I met a woman once named Ruth. She was 88 years old, lived alone. Modest home. No surviving children. But there was a light in her eyes that people half her age didn't have. Every Monday, she wrote postcards to shut-ins from her church. Every Thursday, she made soup and froze it for a local shelter. Every afternoon around 4 p.m., she sat by her window and waved at the school children walking home. She knew their names. They waved back. Her body was aging. But her days had shape. Her heart had rhythm. Her life had purpose, not grand, not dramatic, but deeply real. And that's the secret. Purpose doesn't have to be public. It doesn't have to be profound. It just has to be present. So if you've felt your days getting quieter, if you can't remember the last time you felt excited to start your morning, if you've said to yourself, "It doesn't matter whether I do this or not," that's not laziness. That's a signal. Your body is asking you to anchor your day again, to give it a reason to turn on the systems, to repair, to regenerate, to engage. And that can start small, feeding the birds at the same time each day, calling a grandchild every Wednesday afternoon, writing down one memory in a notebook every morning, saying a short prayer before bed. The scale doesn't matter. The consistency does. Because every small act of purpose tells your body, "I'm still needed. I'm still part of this life." And when the body believes that, it fights harder to keep going, not just biologically, but spiritually. So don't wait for a big revelation. Find one tiny task. Give your morning some shape. Give your evening something to reflect on. Because longevity isn't just about heartbeats. It's about having a reason for each one. So let's take a breath and look back. We've explored 5 subtle, unexpected reasons why so many people begin to decline after 80, not because of disease or bad choices, but because of quiet changes that sneak in when no one's watching. The loss of those small daily social interactions that used to keep us feeling connected. The slow surrender to inactivity, disguised as caution. The disruption of our inner clock from too little light during the day and too much artificial light at night. The weight of grief and emotional pain, carried silently and never given space to breathe. And the fading of daily purpose, the small, steady reasons that once made each morning worth rising for. None of these things happen all at once. They drift in slowly, quietly, like fog settling over a familiar landscape, until one day you can't see what you've lost. But here's the good news. Just as decline happens gradually, so does recovery. One interaction, one walk, one moment of light, one tear allowed to fall, one simple task that gives your day meaning. This isn't about stopping aging. We can't do that, but we can change the way we age. Because aging is not just about the body. It's about staying engaged, connected, in motion, emotionally open, and needed. So ask yourself gently, which one of these 5 signs felt uncomfortably familiar? Which one made you pause? And more importantly, which one are you willing to act on today? You don't need a complete plan. You don't need to do everything. You just need to take one step. Because small steps, taken with consistency and heart, are often what carry people not just past 80, but into a life that still feels alive. So please, if this video spoke to you, subscribe so you don't miss what comes next. Comment below with one small change you're ready to make. And share this video with someone who deserves to feel seen, needed, and strong again. Because you're not alone in this. We're building a community, not just of older people, but of wiser people. People who know that real longevity isn't about time. It's about presence. And that presence starts now.